She wore a raspberry ShamWow, the kind you find in the Target store. Hi again. Sorry, I like to sing, especially on the fly. Anyhow, this is Hope again from ProseB4Bros. I'm checking in once more for, what am I doing? Showing you my ShamWow hat. I'm sorry. Let me give you a disclaimer. The reason why I'm wearing this, if you didn't watch the video that I just recently uploaded, I just got home from work. I'm tired. Last thing I care about is this situation. I took a shower and I'm doing this. You girls might know what this is. If you ladies know what I'm talking about, praise ya. I'm trying to plop my hair. Plop it. I guess it's a thing that people with curly hair do to make their hair super duper curly. And I don't know if this is going to be successful or not. So yeah, that's why I'm wearing this situation on my head. I'm not trying out auditioning to be John B. in the new Pee Wee Herman movie. I'm just, this is what you're gonna get. So anyhow, I want to reach out to you guys and do my first tag ever on my my channel. And the first tag that seemed very appropriate was Booktube Newbie tag. And I'm looking at my cards and I swear to God, my handwriting is terrible. It looks like I put Booktube or something like that. Don't judge me. It's been a long day. So anyhow, I was going to go through the tag. I believe it's only 10 questions. So it's a quick tag, but I figured it would be a great way to introduce myself to you guys. And of course, if you have questions afterwards, if I didn't answer any questions that you are just dying to know about me, then please put them in the comments below. I'll see what I can possibly do. Yeah, I'm pretty much an open book, all puns intended there. So, but the first question we have here is, why did you start this channel? So I probably started the channel for the same reason that anybody else out there starts a Booktube channel, and it's simply for the fact that I love books and I want to share that love of books with other people that feel the same way. I really like to talk to people about books in general, about things that they're reading, what kind of genres they're into, all these kind of questions that, you know, a book nerd would initially ask. One thing that I really love to hear people talk about is their favorite books and how those books had shaped them over a period of time. So that's really why I decided I wanted to do Booktube, is just get out there and meet other people that like the same things as I do. So the second question I got is, what are some fun, unique things you can bring to Booktube? Well, obviously, I could bring you guys ShamWow hats. I could also bring a sense of humor. I like to be humorous. And if you've noticed the pattern in the last 2 or 3 videos I've done, I like to sing songs I've made up on the fly about random things, such as my ShamWow hats or the books I've been reading. So I'm very, very into being humorous about some of the things I present. I like to make laughs, so to speak. I also like to bring insights. One thing that a lot of people have mentioned to me is I like to give random factoids about things. So, sorry, that's my stupid neighbor. So, anyhow, before we were rudely interrupted by my stupid neighbor and his motorcycle, that interrupts me throughout the night, interrupts my sleep throughout the night. I like to do, like, pass on information that I find out. I like little factoids about anything historical or just anything of reference. So yeah, hopefully I could pass some of that information on throughout this channel. And then the next question we have is, what are you not... well, I can't read my handwriting. All right. It says, what are you most excited about for this channel? I think I answered that pretty much in the first question, but I like to discover new books and discover new people. So the best way to do that, obviously, is to engage with other people inside the Booktube community. And what better way that is than to do it through this type of media, this channel, essentially. So I'm looking forward to meeting other people like me out there, and hopefully discovering some more things like books. All right. So why do I love reading, or why do you love reading? For me, it's an escape from, whatever is going on in my life. I could probably be the most stressed out person. I have a real bad case of anxiety. I have a real bad case of depression sometimes. So books have been kind of my safe haven ever since I was diagnosed. And ever since I suffered from depression, which probably started when I was like 6 years old. I dealt with depression quite a bit growing up. And I feel like books have always been kind of my refuge. When I'm having the most terrible day of my life, or if I'm going through something that is just unbearable for me to deal with reality at that point, I know for certain I could turn to a book, and it gives me that sanctuary that I need. So that's one reason. And also, it's an adventure to read. Sound kind of like a reading rainbow right there, but it's an adventure to read, and it's cheaper than a cruise. So hey, I'll take it. Sometimes it's cheaper than a cruise. It depends on how many book sales I go to. But anyhow, let's see. What book or series got you into reading? So this one is tough. I had to really think long and hard about it. To give background, I have been in love with reading ever since, I think ever since I was like 4 years old. Like, one thing that I could remember, and my mom often talks about it, is she remembers that I would have like this obsession with libraries. In fact, to keep me occupied when my sisters were in school, and I was like in preschool, I believe. I wasn't even in preschool yet, so this had been way before I was 4 years old. My mom actually designed, in the corner of our kitchen, a library, and she would make my sisters after school come and check out books at this library. So it was a big deal. I loved books. My mom raised me to love them. So just a little background on that. My love of books have gone for decades. But some of the few books that I could think of, and off the top of my head here is, honestly, this is the first book ever that I loved. It was In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories by Alvin Schwartz. The story in question that I loved the most was probably The Girl with the Green Ribbon, or I believe it was called The Green Ribbon. And I just remember reading that all the time with my mom. I don't know how many copies of that book we went through, because the spine kept on getting busted and pages kept falling out. So it's one of those books that really inspired me. It was one of the books I started reading for the first time. So I know that sounds campy, but I'm going to start there. The second book that really caused me to love reading is, it's kind of an old one. I'll be surprised if anybody's heard of it. It's called Chicken Every Sunday, My Life with Mother's Borders by Rosemary Taylor. Again, this is one of those nostalgic ones. My mom actually had this book when she was in high school. And she graduated high school in God, I always forget this. I think it was 1967 she graduated from high school. So this book is like super old. I still have the copy of it. I keep it, really close by. I actually have it inside my bedside table. It's just one of those books I'll cherish forever. But she gave me that book. I think it was when I was a freshman in high school, and she recommended me reading it for a book report, and it was just one of those books that just had a lasting effect. And I think the reason why I loved it so much is it's one of those old school books that you don't have to have a bunch of action or a bunch of background on it. It doesn't have to be full of suspense. It's just about everyday life. And those are the kinds of books and kinds of stories I've always been really intrigued by. I gravitate towards those kind of stories. And this book is just that. If you actually could find a copy of it, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Like I said, it's really old school. You might have to go to the antique bowl to find it, but it's another classic. I love it. The next book I like is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I started reading that, I believe it was my junior year of high school. I read it one day because I saw a copy of it sitting on one of my English teacher's desks, and I read the back of it and thought I could connect to this character. And ever since then, I just have such great respect for Sylvia Plath. I know that might just sound so atypical coming from somebody that has asthma. I have that too, by the way. Coming from somebody that has anxiety and has depression, that probably sounds pretty redundant, I guess. But that book definitely helped me a lot with the process of trying to figure out how to live with depression and anxiety and overcoming it, and using your creativity, such as writing in my case and painting in my case, to overcome those obstacles. So, and then the last one, I picked a series that has made such a, what am I trying to say here? It got me to the point where I wanted to do a booktube. It was official that I wanted to do a booktube channel at this point, was called the Midwife series. I actually picked up these books on a recommendation. I believe it was from my sister. She recommended it because she got really obsessed into it. She's like me. She likes to read everyday life situations, and she likes those small pieces of history. So if you're not familiar with the Call the Wife series, or you haven't watched a TV series on BBC, I believe they also play on PBS now too. But it's about midwifery in England in the 1950s to the early 1960s. It's incredible. And it's just so eye-opening to read something of that historical reference, because we don't really talk about midwifery that much anymore. And at-home births, you don't really hear those kind of stories. So those are definitely great books. If you guys ever get a chance, please check them out. They're awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next questions. I kind of babbled there. Apologize for that. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So I obviously have two booktubers I really like that also inspired me to do this booktube channel. One's Chelsea Dowling. The other one is Julie from Pages and Pens. And I've actually gotten a few more since then. I've gotten so many more booktube channels I'm actually enamored with. So just trying to think of those particular people. I think what I would ask them is what their favorite book is and why it's their favorite book, because I find it very intriguing. If you ask somebody about what their favorite book is, a lot of times you can figure out their personality. It kind of gives you a little backstory on them. So And then I would give them, let's see, another question I would ask is what type of feedback could they give somebody that's starting out, like someone like me. So yeah, that's the questions I would ask. All right, what challenges do you think starting a Booktube channel will be to overcome? It's kind of worded weird, but my challenges is patience and anxiety. I know things can't grow overnight, and I'm one of those people that my husband says I'm instant gratification girl. So I like to see results fairly quickly. I like to see them making some sort of impact fairly quickly, and sometimes I worry that I'm not making any impact at all. So that's one of my challenges. I have to learn to be patient, and that, you know, things will come in due time. But also another challenge I have, and I think it's obvious because sometimes I do get nervous on camera, is my anxiety. I am horribly just socially impaired. Is what I like to call it. It takes a lot for me to open up to people, and it's not an issue of trust or anything like that. It's just that social part. I struggle with it. So yeah, I'm hoping to come out of my shell a little bit as time goes on, as I make these videos, and perhaps be a little more rambunctious, I suppose. But I do have a good stepping stone. I'm singing to you guys, and I usually don't sing to anyone, so I'm sorry about that, but at least I'm growing, right? All right. When did I start reading? So I already answered this back on the other question, essentially. My mom was a big supporter of making sure that us kids were keeping ourselves entertained in the most educational way as possible. So I was kind of a late baby. I came in the late stages of their lives. My parents' lives, they were in their, let's say, mid-30s, I believe. My sisters were both, like, I think freshmen and sophomores in high school. So they were a little bit older. I came and I was essentially a surprise. So basically, when my sisters were at school, I would get discouraged because I too wanted to go to school and I was too little to go to school. So, like I said, my mom would do these educational excursions to make me, you know, to keep me occupied, really. And the one thing she would do is make me a library. I can recall her, when she had a chance, she would sit down and read to me. Well, she made sure that I was immersed in reading. She made sure that, you know, every time we went to the grocery store, I'd pick up a golden book and take it home with me. I can remember her giving me, you know, not necessarily giving me money to go buy junk or anything like that. Like while I was 8 years old, she'd have me earn my allowance so I could go to the Scholastic Book Fair. So she instilled a lot in me in terms of my love of reading. She's also a very big avid fan of reading as well. So I would say that started as soon as I could probably walk. You know, I had a book in my hands. So that's something that I can always thank her for. She's the reason why I love reading, essentially. All right, the next question, where do you read? So basically I read anywhere I could possibly read at. I like to read at work. So like what I'll do is, like, if I have a 15-minute break or I have my hour lunch, I love to have my book or my Kindle or my phone with me with my Scribe subscription pulled up. I love to go find like a corner in the big building that I work in and just sit there and read. I don't care if it's for a full hour. It makes me happy. It works out. When I'm home, I would say it would probably be this room, because this chair right here, I love this chair. It's a rocker chair. It's so freaking comfortable. It's the best $30 I ever spent. And of course, in bed. I love to read in bed, especially like on a Sunday morning. If the weather's real crappy out and it's raining, I just love to curl up in bed with my 2 dachshunds and just read a book. And I could spend too much time doing that. But yeah, I could read just about anywhere. Yeah, it just depends on where, I guess. All right, last question here. What kind of books do you read? I read just about anything I could get my hands on. The only thing I haven't really read too much of is fantasy. I'm trying to kind of jump into that genre a little bit more. But I really love to read, gosh, thrillers. I like reading YA contemporaries, can't talk. Historical fiction, historical nonfiction, biographies. I really enjoy reading true crime. I don't know. My husband makes fun of me because I'm obsessed with true crime books. But it's something that I just love, and I think that's because when I was a kid, I wanted to be an attorney or like a forensics person of some sort. I was an unusual kid. But anyhow, basically anything that will catch my attention. I could spend a whole day in a bookstore and look at all the books that are available, and I'll find something that pulls at my heartstrings. So, but yeah, the only thing I can really think of that I don't really read too much of is fantasy, and I'm hoping that eventually I'll get over that and start reading some more. I don't have anything personal against it. It's just one of those things I never really did. So, but yeah, I'm hoping to do that through this channel. Other than that, that's all the questions that I got on the Booktube tag. I've seen other Booktube tags out there that have various different questions. One being, what was it? Who's your fictional crush? That's what it was. And I have to say, Gilbert Blythe, Anne of Green Gables, hands down. Love that guy. But anyhow, that's all I got. But if you have questions that you want to ask me, like I said, I'm pretty open to answering just about anything. There might be some questions that will just, let's keep it PG. But yeah, I'm open to hearing your questions. If you've got recommendations for books or other booktuber channels, please feel free to leave those down below in the comments. If you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping in. I do appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe. That way you could continue going on this awkward journey with me. I can't talk. But yeah, feel free to subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.